Christmas came early this year for everyone who got the ENS airdrop. We literally got $10,000 to $50,000 worth of coins just for holding some ENS addresses that we bought in the past. But I have one huge question on my mind, and that is the ENS token high quality and worth holding long term? Or is it just pumping right now because we're in a bull market? Well, in this video, I'm going to share with you all of my first impressions of this project, plus my personal strategy of what to do with our airdrop tokens. So if that sounds interesting or useful to you, then strap in, my friend, and let's roll the intro. When I first heard about the ENS airdrop, I didn't really see it coming. I was like, okay, that's cool. I had some addresses back in 2017, 2018, so I'd likely qualify. But it didn't really hit me until I used the address checker and discovered that I get a few hundred ENS tokens from the airdrop. That's when I started to feel a lot more urgency, because the airdrop was coming sooner than I expected, and I wanted to come up with my own projections and strategy so I wouldn't make the same mistakes that I did with my Uniswap airdrop. Because I'll be honest, I effed up that one bad. I sold Uni near the bottom before it did a 10x a few months later. Anyways, I took a quick look at the ENS token and came up with a $100 price target with around 3 months for it to get there. That would give it around a $10 billion market cap, which I think is quite reasonable since we're still in a strong bull market right now. And that would still be lower than Uniswap's current market cap, which I think is fair because Uni has been around for much longer. Anyways, the airdrop came just a few days later and I hodled just like I said I would. But I was pretty shocked because ENS kept on rocketing and it got all the way up to $80 before dropping back down a bit. That means it almost hit my projection within the first few days instead of taking months to get there. That's why I was like, dang, I gotta look into this more right now instead of later. Because its early rocketing changes everything in terms of my strategy and projections. Like, should I sell ASAP? Or should I even buy some more? So that's why I pushed back some of my other videos to look into ENS real quick. And I want to share with you my first impressions in this video, which is not meant to be a deep dive, by the way. So please excuse me if I get some things wrong, because this is going to be a lot of preliminary research and gut feelings. Anyways, let's jump right into it. First, what is ENS in a nutshell? Well, it stands for Ethereum Name Service, which is very similar to the domain name service that websites use on the internet. For example, DNS maps IP addresses such as 66.102.0.0 to more human-readable addresses like google.com. In similar fashion, ENS maps wallet addresses such as 0x123abcdefg to vitalik.eth. You can use these ENS addresses as your username for all the crypto dApps out there. And you can also use it to receive crypto payments as well. Like, I could just tell someone to send Ether to kevin.eth instead of giving them my super long wallet address. And just FYI, that is not my ENS address. Please don't send anything there. I have no idea who owns that one. But do you kind of see how it makes things so much more easier? By the way, 3 things that you probably did not know about ENS are, number 1, ENS names are actually represented by NFT tokens. So yeah, you can see them on marketplaces like OpenSea as well. Second, ENS names can receive more than just ETH and ERC20 tokens. They also work for coins like Bitcoin, Dogecoin, etc. And third, you can also integrate traditional DNS names like a .com or .io with wallet address as well. It doesn't only have to be a .eth name. In terms of the ENS token, it's for governance purposes. Token holders can vote to change things like the domain pricing, the oracles used, etc. They actually have a constitution that outlines several key principles surrounding their DAO. And lastly, they set up a foundation in the Cayman Islands to represent the DAO's legal matters. Well, that was the ENS in a nutshell. Now it's time for my first impressions. But first, a quick shout out to our video sponsors, Coinme. They are the largest cash to crypto exchange with thousands of locations across the US. They're growing really rapidly, and to celebrate that growth, they're holding a weekly giveaway where one lucky winner gets $1,000 in Bitcoin every single week through the end of December. Just check out my link down below and fill out your info to enter. It's really quick and simple. Oh, and also you can re-enter every week after Sunday if you didn't win. And you can do other stuff like engage with their social media to get more entries. Anyways, back to ENS, the first thing that stood out to me was their tokenomics, which I really like for several reasons. For example, we always hate on other projects for being too controlled by the VCs, but in the case of ENS, they didn't have any investors. They actually got funded by Ethereum ecosystem grants because they see themselves as a public good. That means we don't have to worry about VCs dumping on us in the future. Another point here is that their distribution was really fair and equitable. ENS address holders got 25% of the tokens, key contributors got another 25%, and the final 50% went to the community treasury. And one last thing about tokenomics is that most of the people who owned ENS addresses and hence got the airdrop are OGs, which just means that they've been around for a long time, and most of them are more well off compared to the newbies in the space. My theory here is that they don't have as strong of a need to flip their ENS tokens for quick profits, so it's more likely that they will hodl long term. The next thing I really like about ENS is their adoption and growth over the years. They have almost 450,000 ENS names created so far, and that's actually meaningful because you have to pay money for those ENS names plus gas fees. It's not like people are just signing up for free accounts willy-nilly. And the platform also generates revenue from people registering and renewing ENS names. So far, they've collected over $20 million in their treasury. Another really bullish thing I noticed is that Coinbase is getting involved in the ENS ecosystem. They are serving as the delegator, so people can delegate their votes to them, which is cool and all, but I think that means Coinbase will list ENS tokens sooner rather than later. And they may even buy more ENS tokens for themselves to shore up that delegator position. That would obviously be amazing for the token price. But if we take a step back here, I think the overall thesis and value proposition for ENS is incredibly strong, right? Like, it's aiming to be the identity layer of Web3, which is so important and could capture a lot of value in the future. Some analysts even say that it could be bigger than the .coms one day. And the ENS tokens basically let you own a piece of the decentralized counterpart of DNS. Lastly, it stands to reason that if you are bullish on Ethereum, then you should also be bullish on ENS because it's such a key part of the Ethereum world. Here we have identity, Web3, and Ethereum. All of those are trending up, so it's not crazy to imagine that ENS will rise as well. But hold up, because I do have some negatives or concerns as well. Like short term, if you look at previous airdrops like Uni or 1inch or DYDX, they all tend to retrace for a while after their initial pump. It may be better to hold off on buying or sell early into the pump before buying back in later. Another thing is that they have a pretty low float currently, like only around 19% of their total supply is circulating. And it's already at a $6 billion fully diluted market cap. That's quite rich, to be honest, and maybe it's not surprising though, given that we're in the middle of a bull market. On a more philosophical level, these governance tokens are kind of hard to evaluate because they don't have any utility value or whatnot. It's just for governance. While I do think it's worth something, it's not as easy to build a financial model for them compared to other projects or protocols. And on that note, if we do try to value them from a financial perspective, it's definitely overvalued right now. Because if we take their $16 million in their year-to-date revenue and combine that with a token price of $55, that would put them at around a 334x price to sales ratio, which is so darn high no matter like what asset we're looking at. Anyways, those are just my first impressions and initial thoughts. Maybe I'll make a more deep dive piece about this in the future, but for now, let's talk strategy. For me, I plan to hold these airdrop tokens and not sell them for a few months. And I have two big reasons for why. First is that we would incur a huge tax hit if we claim it now, since it would be considered as additional income. Second is because I messed up on Uni and was too impatient. I sold my Uni tokens near the bottom during a consolidation phase before it started rocketing like 5 to 10x. I will wait for this initial pump to cool down and let price action play out for a while. Patience is the name of the game for me when it comes to these ENS tokens. Perhaps I'll look to sell some in January or February of next year though, which may be a great time because many analysts think that the bull market may be close to over by that time. Another clutch point about strategy is that we got to play around with more of these projects to qualify for airdrops. Seriously, this was so lucrative and it only took me a few hours to do my ENS activities back in the day. I for one will be looking into other projects and protocols to see which ones may do an airdrop in the future and go try them out. By the way, I'm making a top 10 airdrops video next that you can find right here when it's ready. It's not right now though. In the meantime, be sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on that one. Anyways, I'm Kevin from Coinsider. I can't wait to see you in the next one, and cheers.